president. So we will be recording. Cool. And we'll share screen and get started. All right, so welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to our parents meeting for the fall 25 season. If you're new here, this will give us a little bit of a rundown of who we are, what we expect, and then I'm going to go at the end talk about our new app called Playmetrics. I want to make sure everyone is able to get access to it, but also is able to use it effectively because we're going to be doing basically everything admin side through Playmetrics. You're also going to be communicating with coaches and seeing when things are through Playmetrics. So it'll be very, very important that everyone's able to use that. Cool. We'll get started. First off, I want to make sure everyone knows who we are. So here's our board members. We have a couple of them on the call right now. More might be joining. I'm the president of the club, so if you ever have a question, feel free to reach out to me. My email can be found in a couple places. I'll show you one of them in Playmetrics. And you can also just send me a message through Playmetrics as well. And then we have our vice president and director of coaching, Daniel Langer. He also coaches our younger teams, so our B13, B14. You'll see him around because as director of coaching, he tries to help out at basically everything. Our secretary, which I didn't see her join yet, but she's probably coming, is Lori Valentine. She has a kid on our B13 team. She also shows up to everything. She also usually helps out with our concession stands. So if our concession stands is running, you'll most likely see her around. Our director of business relations, Misty Gray, she also has a kid on our B13 team. She helps with our sponsorships, stuff like that. Ref assigner, Marie Brain. She's on this call as well. And then we have a treasurer assistant and field manager, Kayla Logan. She is the assistant coach for our girls 2014 team. So if you're on that team, you probably know Kayla. And then we have a member at large, Candace Juarez. She has 2 kids in the club, one for my 09 team, and then she has one for our B13 team as well. So all of these people will be around. We try to make ourselves visible when needed. If you ever need something, please reach out to one of us. I'm, again, always available, so send me a message and I'm happy to answer any questions, or just pull me aside when I'm not coaching and I'm happy to talk. A little bit about the league that we're in. So this season, we're going back to the NPSL. This is the same league that we were in the spring. We had a lot of discussions about which league to be in, and we decided to stick with the NPSL, and it kind of seems like this will be what we're sticking with in the long term. Biggest reason for this is home games. So the other option we had was the WPL, or the Washington Premier League, which we really like being part of them. They are a good league, but they don't allow us to have home games in Grace Harbor. And they were telling us this season that we wouldn't even be able to have them in Elma, which meant that every single home game we get would have to be played in Olympia. Not only does that increase our costs, which would most likely mean an increase in registration fees, it also means that parents would have to drive to Olympia for every single game, and that's the closest you would get. We didn't think that was fair to everyone, so we decided to stick with the NPSL. It's still a very competitive league. The competition is very comparable to WPL, but it also just means that we get home games. So we'll be able to be as steward for all of our home games over the fall season. Really, really good league. Again, we were in it this last season, so it should be pretty familiar to everyone. A little bit of the expectations for everyone. I have this broken up by player and parent. Coaches may have other smaller things to add on to this, but these are the general things to expect, like that we're expecting from the families in our club. First big one that actually just got added for this season is properly prepare for games and practices. What I mean by this is we have been seeing, especially with certain teams, players show up to a game and we'll ask them, hey, what was the last thing you ate? And they said, oh, I ate dinner last night. You're not going to be able to perform if that's the case. So we want to make sure that the day of at least, make sure your kid gets something to eat. They get decent sleep. Like these kids are showing up, they played Fortnite to 4 a.m. They're showing up tired. They just took a nap in the car and they haven't eaten anything all day. And then they get out to the game and they're kind of questioning why they're not able to play like they normally do. Preparing for games are huge. Practices as well. If it's between school and you're just running around, make sure they have a protein bar or something in their backpack so they can eat. It definitely shows, and any coach can kind of pick out the players that haven't eaten recently before games or practices. So it's a huge part of just preparing properly and being able to be present in any practice or game. Other than that, attend games and practices with proper gear and uniform. For practices, proper gear includes shin guards. We cannot allow them to practice without shin guards. So if your kid shows up without shin guards, it either means we're sending them home or they get to practice up until there's any sort of defending. So once there's another player trying to take the ball from them, you can't have that anymore, and they're just watching at that point. We don't want that to happen. So please make sure they have shin guards. We sometimes have extras, but I can't promise that your coach is going to have an extra pair of shin guards for your kid. So make sure that they have their shin guards. And then closed-toed shoes. I would prefer cleats for everyone, but technically I can allow them if they have tennis shoes to go practice. Shin guards is the biggest thing. For games, cleats and shin guards, again, any closed-toe shoe is going to work, but cleats and shin guards is a must. And then for games, we also need you to bring both jerseys. So we have a white and blue jersey this season. Both jerseys are required just because if we do match colors, we need to have options to be able to like swap into our white if we're wearing blue, stuff like that. In general, it's the home team's requirement to change if there's ever a conflict, but just bring both no matter what. That way we can swap when needed. Past that is communicate with your coaches when you miss a practice or game. We prefer that you just do this with in-play metrics. It'll be really, really simple. I'll show you guys how to do this. There's just a button you click for attendance, and you can add a note. It's really, really simple, so please make sure you're communicating. If you're going to miss large swaths of time, say there's an injury or you're going on vacation, send your coach a message just so they know what's going on. It makes our job a lot easier if we can plan ahead. Past that is positively represent the club during any game, event, or club event, and then actively be involved with fundraisers. So pretty simple stuff. We don't have a ton of fundraisers, but we do know we'll have a fun run over the summer that we're going to get on planning here soon. We'll give you a date once we have that, and then we'll have our auction in the fall. We always have a big auction. So once we have the date for that, we'll lock down and our location. We'll let parents know as far in advance as possible. But just expect for your player to be involved in these, whether it be helping decorate with the auction or help run items places, stuff like that. Really helps it go the fundraiser to go smoothly. And then for the fun run, just have your expect that your player's going to run in it and try to help fundraise through that as well. It all goes right back into the club. It's what helps us keep our prices low, but also helps us get things for our each team. So like for the fun run, we really want to try to get some gear for each team. So we're going to give them goals and try to help get stuff like a canopy or benches and stuff like that for the teams that don't have it. So everything for fundraisers go right back into helping make sure this club runs. We're not like paying our board members huge salaries or anything at this point. So it's going right back towards your kids. For the parents, the first thing is just positively support your player from the sidelines, and then respect both coaches and referees during games and trainings. Your role in all of this is really to be a support system for your kid. We don't want to see parents yelling at referees or trying to officiate games if they see something that they don't like. Just let the kid play and let the coach coach. Be as supportive as possible, and then we're going to take care of the rest. If there is a problem with the refereeing, the coach is going to take care of it. If we hear parents yelling from the sidelines, if the refs are hearing it, it's going to be addressed and people will either get kicked out, coach will get yellow cards, red cards, stuff like that. We don't want that to happen. So just let the coach do his job and he'll address anything with the referees when needed. Next one is allow coaches to coach. A lot of times we'll see parents try to coach from the sidelines, and it's putting kids in this weird situation where the coach might be saying one thing, parents saying another, and they're having to choose which one to listen to. And we don't want to put a kid in that position where they're trying to say, do I listen to my coach or do I listen to my parent? That's not a good spot for the kid to be in. So just be supportive, make sure that they know that you're there to support them, and then the coach will do the coaching bit so that they can know what they're doing on and off the field. And then last bit is no on-field presence during practices. So you guys can be at Stewart. We're not saying don't be at Stewart. You guys can be on the concrete. We just don't want parents walking onto the turf to handle something with a coach during practices. We have a lot of regulations about background checks and safety, stuff like that. So we just need to make sure that parents aren't actively coaching, or else we can get into big trouble, but also anyone involved can as well. If there is an issue, you want to address something with a coach, speak with them privately after the event, after the practice, after the game. Just make sure we're not coming onto the field to try to address something. And this is for any field. We're not always going to be at Stewart. So if we're out at Emmanuel or something like that, just make sure we're not involving ourselves in the practice and letting the coach take care of everything. If you need to pull your kid for any reason, that's a different story. You can come pull your kid real quick and leave if there's like something that you need to get to. But for the most part, just let the coach be and then talk to him after practice. Cool. So practices, the thing I will reiterate is that they must have shin guards. Coaches will have first aid as well. That's on the coach's side. For players, they must have shin guards. It's a non-negotiable. If they don't have shin guards, they are not practicing that day. I also gave a breakdown of the practice guidelines. This is just the guidelines we give our coaches. So things may be slightly different. Look to your coaches for an exact schedule. It just gives you guys an idea of like, my kid is U11, so how much practice should I expect to get? You're looking at 2 to 3 hours each week. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's just a general guideline. Your coach will be able to give you more information about like the specifics of where and when practice is. This also doesn't include game times. There will be a little bit of driving for away games, stuff like that. So there'll be a little bit of extra added onto this. This is just the guidelines we give our coaches. So pricing, it is going to be $250 for registration this year. We did drop the pricing down a little bit, actually quite a bit. The main reason for that is we are not doing jerseys through us anymore. So in the past, essentially, you would give us your size and your number. We would purchase all of the jerseys at once, and then we try to distribute them once they arrive to us. Now we are going to be allowing you as parents to place the order. We have a New Jersey provider that will be doing it. It'll be delivered right to your house. It takes about 3 weeks to do, and I think it's like 110, 115 total. I have to get the exact amounts because the site's not up, but if I'm remembering right, that's about the amount. We tried to make it so that it's this like same amount that you're paying as before. We're just taking out the jersey cost from the registration fees. So you'll pay your registration through Playmetrics, and then here soon, I'm hoping this next week or two, hopefully this week, I will have the jersey site up and running. This goes into a little bit of kind of what does that go towards, like ref fees, field fees, the registration fees, stuff like that. And again, online payments are expected through Playmetrics. If for some reason you need to give cash or a check, that can be handled. Just I would recommend messaging me, and we can find a time for me to pick that up from you at a practice, and then I can just take it off of your Playmetrics account, and it should work pretty fine. And then financial aid. This can be applied for when you are registering through Playmetrics. And then we will be going over this at our June meeting, which should be happening here soon as a board. So if you need financial aid, please make sure you're applying for it as soon as possible. A little bit about, again, just who we are and our vision for your kids. The first thing is we're helping develop players to get them where they want to go. Our goal is to help see players grow to a point where they need to move on from us. We're not the end all be all. We're just a step in your kids' soccer careers. So we work with all of them, trying to understand what their goals are, where they want to go with the sport, and try to make sure that they're able to achieve those goals. The biggest thing we aren't is looking to chase trophies. We're here for the development. We're not here to win every single season. We're not here to win every single trophy. While that's fun and we definitely don't want to lose, our goal isn't win every single trophy. It's to help develop players, help make sure that they're able to move on in soccer. So yeah, to do that, we want to seek out failure to grow. We're going to keep progressing these players no matter what. So they're going to progress until they struggle. They're going to struggle till they succeed. And then once they're starting to succeed, we're going to progress them up again. So if you guys have a team that we see just dominate the season, in this division, they're just winning every single game. They're first in the league. You can bet the next season we're going to move them up, because while winning that season is great and it's a huge confidence boost, and we want to make sure that they're able to succeed, we also want to make sure they're still growing. To be able to do that is playing against more and more challenging opponents. Past that, it's going to be a strong team culture. So we want our entire team to be able to support each other, to like hanging out with each other. Those are the most fun teams to be a part of. We don't want to see these teams where we have one group from Aberdeen in the one corner, Elma kids in another, and they're just kind of separated. We want to see the strong team culture. Lastly, you're part of a club, not just a team. We don't want isolated teams where they're all off doing their own things. We are one big club. We're always trying to do things together and trying to build that club culture. If your team feels too isolated, there's something going wrong, and we need to make sure we're fixing that. We want to make sure that we're doing things as a club and that everyone feels supported. Games is going to be starting in September, so we're practicing throughout the summer, but our games won't start until about the first week of September. With the NPSL, most of our teams will have a 10-game season, but they do vary, so it could be up to a 12-game season. Registration, though, does need to be paid, before they can play their first game. Right now I have it set, so it's August 1st is that deadline. If you have not paid and accepted your spot on the team, paid just means a payment plan. So if you're on the $50 payment plan, it means you paid that first $50. If you have not done it by that point, we may end up cutting some players. We never want to do that. So please reach out if there's something going that we need to be aware of. Like, we can make exceptions, we can move things around, we can provide extensions. We just need to know. So if it's getting up to August 1st and you haven't been able to do the first payment, talk to us and we're happy to figure something out with you. Payment should never stop a player from paying. But if we don't have payments and stuff by August 1st, it just means that we can't do what we need to do to get everyone registered correctly. So please talk to us as soon as possible so we can help you out. Cool. Now we're going into our Playmetrics demo. I've mentioned it a couple times. This is the new app that we're using for basically everything: communicating with coaches, calendars, paying for registration. Everything we do is Playmetrics. Cool. So I'm going to start off here. So this is the admin side, so we can ignore this for now, but I'm going to log in as a test parent. Cool. So this is Playmetrics. I'm going to go into it in a mobile view. Get rid of you. This is most likely what you'll see when you guys log in. I have a test player here, and then these are the current programs available. So we have discovery sessions, spring, and then fall tryouts. A lot of these are you're going to see get rid of here soon. We don't need to worry about programs. I'm going to go to home. Right now I have the test parent as a member of my 09 team. So we're going to see kind of the events that they have. It's really just the parent meeting and Coastal Cup. But this is what your home is going to look like. It'll have featured programs. So if something is going on, you'll see that there. And then you'll have the calendar. So right here, it says the parent meeting with all the information. And then it has the Coastal Cup, which is a tournament that we're running for all of our teams. There's going to be tons of teams out there other than Joe Coles, but all of our teams are attending it. Biggest thing for you is, as a parent or as the player, if they're a bit older, is we want to make sure that you guys are able to tell your coach if you're attending. So right here where it says test, this will say your kid's name. So test is just the kid's name for this account. If your kid's named John, it'll say John, whatever it is. If you have multiple kids in the same team, it'll have both their names here. If you click on them, where like right where the question mark is, I'll tap on them. Oh, because this is already going. I'm going to do Coastal Cup. So if I click where the question mark is, it's going to pop up this little menu on if they're attending or not. So say this person's not able to make the Coastal Cup, or if this is a practice, whatever it is, you can hit not attending. And then if they're not attending, I would recommend hitting add note and letting your coach know, like, they're injured, they are injured, can't attend. Just give them something, and then they're able to go in and see exactly why this person can't attend. And then once you've done that, you can just click out of it and you're good to go. If 2 weeks later that changes, you can come back and click on it, and then you can change it. You can clear and change it to attending. So it should be pretty simple. I would recommend doing this for all practices and all games. Just make sure everyone knows, like your coaches know where you're going to be and if you're going to be there or not. That is one of the biggest parts about this app, is being able to do that. If you're someone who doesn't want to be in this app all the time and still want to know when practices are, there's a couple of ways to do that. The first one is there's this button here that says Sync Calendar. If you click on this, it's going to give you instructions on how to do it. If you are on an iPhone, you want to do this iCal link, subscribe to the full calendar. And then if you are on Google Calendar or something like that, you can copy this and go into Google Calendars to do it. There should be a guide if you hit help here. So those are the major things about the calendar. This will become more and more useful as games and stuff are posted. Past that, just scroll down, just make sure I hit everything. That is the major bits of the homepage. If you are someone who has multiple kids, again, it's going to show both their calendars on this homepage. Past that, communication. A couple of different ways to communicate. I'm going to go into my team. Right now I only have one team, so it just brings me right here. So this again has all the upcoming events, any recent notifications, which can be useful if you miss something. Once we have games, it'll have that here as well. But at the very bottom, it has our coaching staff. So if I was on this team, I need to send a message to the coach. I can click on the coach's name. It gives me a little bit of their history. And then right here, it says send message. If I click on that, it creates a little email editor essentially. You can enter a subject, a message, and then send it off to the coach. The other thing you can do is there will be a chat icon right here because this is a test account, it's not there. But you can click that chat icon and send a message through that as well. You just have to type in your coach's name and it'll let you create a chat message with them. Cool. After that, one of the other bigger things is notifications because this thing will send you a lot of notifications. And I know some people are bugged by that. So I want to make sure everyone's aware of how we change that. So if we go into the, see, because I'm not on here often enough, I think this actually might be something we have to do not in the mobile app. So to do notifications, I would recommend doing it on the desktop app. So find a laptop or something and log in. So if we exit out of here. So if we go into account on the desktop app and hit settings, and I'm gonna have to exit out. So account and settings, it's going to bring you to this page. This is where you're able to tell it exactly how you want to be notified based off of what type of notification it is. The default is it's going to send you an email and it's going to send you a mobile app notification. I don't like emails, I'll be honest. So I went in here and got rid of all the emails. I don't want to be emailed about every single practice or event. I just care about the mobile app and I'll go from there. If you're someone who doesn't like either but would rather be texted about certain things, you can add your number up here and then you can select text messages. The other thing you can do is if you want a reminder to get to practice, you can come down to the reminder section, put practices on, and you can do 1 day before, or maybe you want to do like 2 hours before, send me an email. And then every single time you have a practice you need to be, it'll send you an email. You can do SMS, mobile apps, everything. And you can do that for games or other events as well. Other events is going to include stuff like today, this meeting was an other event. If we do a fundraiser, it's going to be counted as an other event. So it's just something that's not a practice, not a game. So that's the main things I wanted to get across with this. I'll go into the billing as well. I can go back into that. So go into my test account again. So we're also doing our registration and billing through here. So if you go into the menu and go to billing, this is where you can add like a card information, stuff like that, so that you can pay your registration. But if you switch it from billing info to charges, this is where you're going to see what's owed for each season. So if you select a $50 payment plan, and then you still have 150 left, it'll say 150 right here. So you'll be able to know exactly how much you owe for each season, so you can plan accordingly. If you wanted to pay it off early, you can also do that through here as well. And then the last thing here is donations. Thing I'm calling out here is don't use this. We have another way to donate. We don't need to take donations through Playmetrics. I can't turn this off. But if you or someone else is looking to make a donation, please reach out. Don't just try to make it through here. It'll charge a credit card fee, that's not what donations are for. Last thing I'll talk about before I just go into questions is how do we add other people? Because right now it'll just have one parent connected to the player, but say your player is 16 and you want them in here, or you want dad in here, or there's multiple people who might be taking their practice. You can add as many people as you want into Playmetrics. So how we would do that is we are going to go down to where it says My Players. Again, I only have this one player. It's called Test Player. We can click on them. This will give a little bit of a profile. You'll probably see your kid's picture from tryout here. From profiles, we're going to switch it to contacts. So all the way down here on contacts, this is where you're going to be able to add anyone. So if I can click the plus icon, I can go to the first, last name, and email, and it will add them to the account and then send them an email to register for Playmetrics. I would recommend adding anyone who might take the kid to play to practice, or anyone that you just want to keep in the loop with their soccer. So again, if you share custody, make sure that mom, dad, stepmom, grandma is added on here so that they can keep up with what's going on. This does give access again to all of the Playmetrics information, so only add people that you need to. You can always remove them if needed as well, and I can help out with that where needed. Cool. So I've talked a lot, especially about Playmetrics. I know it's going to be complicated and it's going to be a lot to learn. I would recommend downloading the app as soon as possible and logging in. If you have issues with that, please reach out. My email should be here somewhere, so I know. So my name's Jacob. If you want to send me a message through the app, but also if we go on the desktop, if you hit help, my email's right here. So president@graceharborfc.com. Feel free to send me an email. Also, if you message our Facebook page, our secretary monitors it, and if it's something for me, they will usually send me a text message, and I can go in there and respond. So there are multiple different ways to reach out to me. Cool. So I'm going to stop sharing. Again, I know that was a lot. So if anyone has questions about Playmetrics or anything else that I covered, feel free, unmute, send them in the chat. I'm happy to answer. If not, we can get out of here a little early, but I just want to give a chance for people to ask questions. Cool. That means I did a good job at explaining it, hopefully. If not, again, please reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions, but it doesn't look like we have any today. So I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting there. Thank you all for coming. I know it's just me kind of talking at you for a little while, so I appreciate you guys listening. And then have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, Jacob. Have a good night.
You too, David.
Bye.
Bye.
Jacob, don't forget to end the recording.
Oh, that's a great